intentional echoes like a reference. In memory of Seamus Heaney, died August 30th, 2013. You left us in diminishing summer, the brooks vigorous, swollen and full-throated, airports thronged with homeward wending tourists, foliage in Dublin and Derry just goldening to rust, left us on an otherwise unremarkable day in mild weather when heat rose in soft tatters from murmuring pavements. In this age when immortality seems assured us all, if only in cyberspace where the faces of the dead linger forever, unchanging, pixelated and luminous, a few thousand perhaps will remember this day, bookmark an obituary, modify a timeline on Facebook. You were modest and approachable, the papers tell us, endured with grace and dignity the packed public readings, journalists, earnest undergraduates seeking approbation. Beneath it all lay Ireland's plain-spoken rural diction, from which you excavated layers of meaning like a farmhand digging peat, the ground below smoky with ancient bones. Okay, every week after we leave the reading, on the way to dinner, Barbara stops off on Polk Street to visit a dog friend of hers. And this poem, that visit got me to thinking about my dog, Chucky, whom I'd had when I was a teenager. And this poem is about that and about Chucky, and it's about other things as well. This is called Running Ahead. At 14, the old mongrel's hips had gone. He dragged his hindquarters behind him like unclaimed baggage, as though rear legs and tail belonged to another dog. Perhaps the young mutt in pictures who jumped straight into the air to catch a frisbee in his teeth. His eyes, the mottled brown of his fur, were clouded with cataracts. His vision, never good, rapidly diminishing. The night they put him down, I was 26, still young at nearly twice his age. But it was hard not to see in the random twitch of those dying limbs warnings of what my own body was already beginning to become. Some nights I imagine him, now 30 years gone, spry again and running ahead down a wooded path at night under a dimly starred sky, looking back from time to time to be sure I'm following. Just a couple more. This is called Listening for Planes, 1917. And it's a story that my grandfather Smith told my father, who told me. My grandfather, who fought at Ypres, said many years later he'd memorized the whines of aircraft engines overhead, distinguishing spad from poker, distinctive pitches of friend and foe, since to look up even for an instant was to expose the pallor of flesh beneath the doughboy helmet, an open invitation to pilots who still flew low enough to aim a pistol or a bomb with deadly accuracy. Cutting the deck. I think abruptly of the yellow moss that clogged the eyes of death's heads in a colonial churchyard in Boston decades ago. The names illegible now as healed scars, the weathered headstones thin, splayed like cards on a gray lawn, save for a few that had fallen to the weather, face down so as not to tip their hand. Okay, this next poem is called Moonrise, Early September, and it has an epigraph which is a quote from a Paul Simon song. And the lines from the song read, "If you want to write a song about the heart, think about the moon before you start." Moonrise, early September. On an ordinary evening, meaning nothing apart from whatever we bring to it, for one particularly striking instant, the lunar seas resembled a handprint, as though the ripened moon were a stone someone had grasped and thrown clear of the horizon rotten with twilight, into a sky where the first stars, after images dead for millennia, were stubbornly beginning to appear. And I do have just one more that I wanted to add.
That's okay.
Back in March, I published a book of sonnets, and since then I've been writing mostly free verse, which is what you've heard up till now. A couple weeks ago I did write another sonnet. This is probably my very favorite of the new poems. And I didn't sit down to write a sonnet, it just kind of came out that way. This is called Dollhouse, in memory of Patricia Lewis Smith, 1953 to 2005. The tiny rooms, immaculately furnished, stood for the home we never could afford. The roll-top desk, the copper cookware burnished and hanging neatly, each embroidered word on the stamp-sized sampler hung above the couch, the bed with its bright quilt. In miniature were gathered here the dreams she could not touch. Her dollhouse dreams brought out the best in her. These days, her ashes stain a windowsill no larger than a matchbook. She is gone, but in these things she loved, there lingers still some essence rescued from oblivion. Each elfin fixture resonates with loss, and grief's the only tenant of this house. Thank you very much.
Okay, and now
Did you forgive me? I haven't read yet, and I signed that way up there.
oh, you did, right. I'm sorry. I did.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Go after you now.
Sure? Okay.
Yeah, and I'll go after you.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Barbara.
Okay, on Tuesday, Ray and I went to the Legion of Honor to see the Impressionist exhibits on the water. So all of the paintings and lithographs and posters, the theme was all about boating. And there was one particular poster of Toulouse-Lautrec that caught my eye, and it prompted this poem. The title of the poster is called "The Passenger from Cabin 54," and the same title of the poem. On a cruise ship in the summer of 1896, Toulouse-Lautrec encountered a beautiful young woman with whom he became infatuated. He captured her sophisticated attire and dreamlike demeanor while she was seated in a deck chair. And then she mysteriously disappeared. Toulouse-Lautrec's imagined love affair with the passenger from cabin 54. The next is another poem I wrote for Toulouse-Lautrec last year. Toulouse-Lautrec had a reserved seat every night in the front row at the Moulin Rouge. So this is called The Reserved Seat at the Moulin Rouge. Toulouse-Lautrec created a palette of exciting, elegant, provocative colors of the decadent Parisian time, fin de siècle. Drawn to Montmartre, the Quartier de Paris, famous for its bohemian lifestyle, the haunt of artists. The Belle Epoque artist laughed at his work, but the Moulin Rouge reserved a seat for Henri and displayed his posters. Henri excelled at capturing the color and movement of the gaudy nightlife with the glamour stripped away. Crowd scenes and highly individualized figures identified by silhouette alone. Henri's haunted reserve seat, his absent drink, and the can-can dancers are still waiting for his return to the Moulin Rouge. I wrote about my hometown, Montreal, Old Montreal. It's called Born in Old Montreal. I recall Old Montreal with a maple leafs call. I recall Old Montreal and the midnight blue ceiling decorated with golden stars in the Basilique Notre Dame. I recall Old Montreal with the Canadian Mounties stand tall. I recall Old Montreal with the Canadian Moose tower above all. And I was born in Old Montreal. This is a poem that I wrote to inspire me to keep my hopes up that I will someday eventually find a job. So it's called Eventually. They say someday our dreams will come true. It will be eventually. Suddenly they appear, suddenly they are here. Could it be serendipity? Bogey and Bacall, the flowers in spring, the birds will sing. They say someday it will come true for me and you. They say someday it will be, eventually, eventually. Now, 2 weeks ago today, we had a surprise rainstorm. And I grabbed my umbrella, and as soon as I got outdoors, it stopped raining. But this has happened before. I see rain, I take my umbrella, I go outside, it stops raining. So this is called Me and My Yellow Parapluie. Parapluie is French for umbrella. I'm dancing in the street with my yellow parapluie. Rain won't dampen my day, puddles won't soak my feet. The sun is above me, and I'm dancing in the street with my yellow parapluie. Me and my yellow parapluie. So a couple of years ago, I asked my therapist, how do you sleep at night when you've got so many things on your mind that you've got to deal with the next day? And she said to me, you know, tonight belongs to me. I come home, I get in bed with a book, and I read the book, and I fall asleep. And I don't worry about tomorrow. So it prompted me to write this song. It's called Tonight Belongs to Me. Until the night meets the morning sun, tonight belongs to me. The night is mine, all mine. Tonight, my anxieties and my fears will all disappear. Tonight belongs to me. The night is mine, all mine. Tonight, all my worries will be far from here. Tonight belongs to me. The night is mine, all mine. Tonight, I will be truly carefree. Tonight belongs to me. The night is mine, all mine. Tonight, I will have a peaceful sleep, filled with velvet petals, marshmallow dreams, strawberries and cream, until the night meets the morning sun. Tonight belongs to me. Tonight belongs to me. This is another song I wrote called Scribbling. I'm daydreaming and just scribbling away. Scribbling at work to break the boredom to break the boredom I'm in. My hound dog's drooling and I'm just scribbling away at the Sacred Grounds Cafe with a chai latte today. Scribbling on a rainy day to pass the time away. Scratch, scribble, splatter, it's a poetic matter. The poetry pen shall move my hand and write. Love poems and lyrics shall flow incessantly from pen to paper. Whatever I scribble shall forever be inscribed in a velvet paper. Scratch, scribble, splatter, it's a poetic matter. I'm daydreaming, my hound dog's drooling, and I'm just scribbling. This is another song I recently wrote called Stick to It. Like Dorothy in the Land of Oz, determined to get back to Kansas. Don't quit, stick to it, you can do it. And it will come true for you. Like bubble gum sticking to the heel of your shoe. Don't quit, stick to it, you can do it, and it will come true for you. Like peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. Don't quit, stick to it, you can do it, and it will come true for you. Like composing a song, don't quit, stick to it, you can do it, stick to it, you can do it, and it will come true for you. Like Dorothy in the Land of Oz.
Have to be tight. It's just a 1 pound microphone.
All right. All right.
You can have it under the light.
I'm not very strong anyway. Okay. This is an old poem that I wrote. The great David Meltzer, if you know who that is, wonderful poet. He taught a class in New College in California 6 years ago. and I was a TA for him. I wrote this in class. It was about, they were all Little Red Tails, so they had all of them that relate to Little Red Riding Hood. A lot of people did love poems, and I kind of did an anti-love poem. Lie in bed. This is called Little Red and the Confused Wolf. You lie in bed. It's a crazy get up you have on. She brings you food. You haven't seen anybody like her ever. So much life, so much magnificent energy to share with you. She brings along a kid who weighs about 100 pounds and doesn't really like you. You love to howl, want her to constantly be beside you, make love to her all the time. What the heck? You're in your early 30s and you'll never get older. You age. The hair you had in plenitude starts ascending toward the back of your head. You've had a high forehead all your life, but this is ridiculous. Your head looks like some pale lake as the gray snow surrounds it. Your stepkid grows up. She doesn't hate you so much anymore. She sees that you've hung in 10 years with her not so always easy to figure out or get along with mother. You can you continue to howl. It's just that your partner goes to sleep now as you watch television. She gets disillusioned, no longer loves you as she once did. Then, several years down the line, sex comes back into your life. Whereas she only wanted to make love once a month for years, now she wants to every night again, almost 20 years of the things. You're tired, but she wants love again, is willing to give to you only like she did in the beginning. The grandma in you is a little disillusioned. You lie in your bed waiting, a rejuvenated howl in your belly, while she's out dancing with a man who's not interested in making love to her, though she wants him. It's Little Red divorcing Grandma the Wolf time. Then you, Grandma, actually Grandpa Wolf, meets somebody again. It's a modified howl, and she only wants to have fun, but she's a warm body and divorced, I think. She at least wants to be your friend. It's a start. Now, this is called Lucky. To all my teachers' aides, in the San Francisco schools. You're lucky just to have enough to barely live on. You're lucky. You're lucky. The capitalist America and expensive San Francisco. You're lucky. You're lucky. The sun shines bright at times. The fog keeps the sweat away. You're lucky. You're lucky. You don't have to put up with a partner who doesn't appreciate you. You're lucky. You're lucky. And even though my book of poems won't ever make me rich, I'm lucky. I'm lucky. This is called the 25-year employee. The 25-year employee is told she's not doing enough, yet this is impossible since it's part of the job. She relates to this one large, developmentally challenged girl who she's babysat, a really large baby, who loves to tell on boys, yet is attracted to them, and sometimes touches a hand or a knee and lies her 17-year-old head on one of the 16 or 17-year-old boy's shoulders. The 25-year employee is small in size but big in effort, knows what's going on, in contrast to the teacher with less than 2 months in this classroom. The 25-year employee with well-earned rings beneath her eyes and a late husband of several decades, just a couple of years dead, is freshly wounded upon the mention of her dear departed spouse. The classroom teacher shows little empathy since she is trying to pair our 5 paraprofessional classroom aides to just 2. The 25-year employee eats melancholy for breakfast. This is called Z. As she opened the back door of our fellow poet's car to leave, she ruffled my hair, like I had done several times to her 8 or 9 years back. Actually, I'd rubbed her neck all those times, but who's quibbling? I asked her if her long braided hair was all her own. Yes, is all she said, and grinned. I'm not looking for a lover right now, she announced to me in semi-private at the coffee house just before she and a few other poets read their works. I closed the show. You should have your own feature, she complimented me. Thank you, I said, flattered and turned on by her upper level gray hair with the black serving as the underneath layer. I knew she wasn't looking for me, just reading her, quote, A material, which is most of her poetry. She reminds me of my favorite aunt and how she used to look, a big point in her favor. She has such tight, brilliant verse. I'm almost envious if it weren't for the fact that our poetry is so different, and our goals, mine's survival, and hers, I think, staying away from the fraternity of dangerous men, for which I'm pretty sure I qualify. I immerse myself in her smile, a soundless laugh, warm yet very, very cautious. What have I got the time, Barbara?
We have 2 more minutes.
Oh, 2 more minutes, okay. Let's see if there's a 2-minute one here. All right, I'll give you 2 minutes.
Actually, 3 more minutes.
3? Okay, good. Well, you're fine. All right. That's it there. Let's see this one. No apologies. None of us have anything to apologize for. We work with studious diligence, are paid half what the teachers are, and do twice the work with students. I've heard how bad this room is, how you don't do the right things with students. The teacher of the moment, the third in 2 years, chides. Her head practically a part of the square computer screen behind diodes hiding from aides and students she claims to know all, is working hard on her burnout from this short-lived, by all likelihood, job. We, however, the 4 to 6 hour employees picking up 16-year-olds by the legs to change a couple of diapers a day, escorting students to class, going to mainstream classes to copy notes for the severely, practically nonverbal artistic, going out into the community while a 16-year-old, 6 foot, 200-pound boy screams his rage back to our classroom to get accused by the 50-something $1,000 salary teacher to our 20-something $1,000 devastatingly hard-working selves of doing either nothing or the wrong thing.
You're right, I like those poems a lot.
Right.
Unfortunately, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Testing. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Quiet. This is my latest poem. Quiet night. Is it the stillness, or is it always the motion? I can barely hear the sirens of serenity, the silence of the night's sirens. By sirens, I mean serenity that is something of a mystery. Hatred remains something of a mystery, as much of a mystery as the impossibly noisy night. Alone with a metaphor. Alone at night with a metaphor, the church rings a chant of bells at 6 o'clock. The sand had its aloneness at the beach of bells, the surf still breaks upon the rocks. The surf breaks noisily and the rocks are mad and want to roar at the surf, at the white tentacles of foam, crushing them to silence, the silence of aloneness. The seals clapping like leopards, applauding an always gray sky. Intermission. I dove deep into days of gloom. My mind paces and prances, and knows something about my body, wandering about the small North Beach library. It falls asleep and tries to reach out to my small mind, stuck somewhere in the tight gray heavens. The gloom is perfect, for there is nothing to age, the windswept trees. Summer gloom, the reluctant taste of days, dark as the dark clouds that do not know a thing about the sun. Nothing mellifluous, nothing. Maybe it will be merry December when it's cold and deck the halls. One of my favorites will be sung. Now we are having our winter gloom. Winter now. I wish we could have a summer like everyone else has. I think at why San Franciscans are prone to think that whatever they say goes. Everywhere else in ubiquitous America, we're one of the herd. Cold library. In the days of golden green uncertainty, as I race along to my backwards backyard of corn and sixpence. Internal rhymes for an 11-year-old. Monday empties the thin gray to the empty air, the placid dazes. Anything I do amazes, wondering what happened to everyone's good graces, the crazy places where here long ago have been replaced with the luck of the Irish. Shamrocks on Green Street, the beat goes on. I am counting lines like a Dylan Thomas. The poem must stand on its own 2 feet where there will be no vision, no prayer, only death, no entrances. Wish there was some heat to beat as it comes to pass, that I wish it would to be hot enough to sweat. Okay. Basilone Sonnet. Dry cherries ripe in the sky to fall. Rory Motion on top of it all. Rory Motion sitting on top of the dry sun and sky. I take it into my head to lay myself into bed and wake myself along to alone, the loneliness within oneself that can only want to expect something you have never expected. Have you ever expected more than sheer joy? The joy of the dreary morning, the mist and moist I woke up with, has changed the sun and the Red Bull logo, charging the day to be big and mean well, the way Taurus always means well. Yes, sweet. The refinement of the late early afternoon, the sway of the leaves in the trees till day turns into night. The dark night will be upon us people. I wonder what has happened to the afternoon in the quest for excitement. Night falls like a curtain and people roar their circumspection to the wind. Spartan Sonnet. Dazed in the sunset, chasses half convince me that invisible chains exist. Stories of hatred and naked betrayal. I sit in a stupor of amazement and non-amusement, as though if I am stuck to my chair and someone has said that I should stick like glue to a chair. At the beach, I received an icy sunburn. The Spartan wind, the severe sand, the icy lace of the waves that swoon and roar the water's throat. The tiny waves give the sand a smooth finish. I turn my head and call out to silence. A rock shore. Static of sky, the slate of sky at the beach, the mouth of the sea of the big seabirds. The seagulls, one white and gray, the other all gray, look at the peaceful sea. All look at me as though I were to be filled up at once with a tremendous chaos. Chaos to answer the elegance of the shoreline. There a crater so quiet it mellowed the puffy cumulus clouds upon the lazy, lazy horizon. Starbucks on a Sunday from an Angelina. Early arise each morning on the sharp cold air. How must I fare around as I am with such as these? The air does nothing here. The wind is as cold as an icicle. It has no majesty or love. The coffee is not something for dreamers. Poetry must be something for dreamers. Surely it is as dreamers do, not as far north, the far north of the mind, the far north of the spirit, the San Francisco that is cold as a bell. Not a bill from the bell collectors, like a bill from the bell collectors. Not bellette, but bell collectors. The bell collectors, the dark bars with gloom and despair greet you like people who expect to go to hell. In hell you get your choice. The Niners or the Rams, the Warriors or the Lakers, the Giants or the Dodgers. September sun at Starbucks. The round bowl, the mad sun has done to its duty. The day is warm. I am about as imaginative as a shoe in a store window. I should buy one before a riot of language tries to reach out for lost whims of well-being. No, the ability to buy a shoe is something that is before me, and I take it for granted, much as I take a sunny day for granted, until it is winter and I am freezing like a well-fed ant that has had enough. Just barely enough brains to follow the herd and help drag a cornflake 5 feet before a big hobnailed boot steps on it. I blurt and squeak a poem to myself. The Prince and the Queen. Monday morning sun breaks bread on a lost star of gloom. Last and least, I, the struggling poet, lost and last in the neighborhood of tech and math. The math of computers reminds me of Babaloo in the distance. Babaloo, lost way back in the 50s. Lucy, the wisecracking redhead. Desi, the slick-backed, greasy-haired human dancer and orchestra leader. I a lost cause, this poem a lost cause, much like the laughing Prince Charles and the Queen Maud, laughing aloud and saying, "Ha ha, you are poor." At the sand, in the white curls of foam and splendor, I beg a metaphor to pity the wind for telling its secrets to the warp and rays of the sunset. I beg a new poem, the mustachio of metaphor. Trieste at twilight. The sun has been at it all day. It has been a San Francisco way, a little like a debate like the Trieste at twilight. One patron tells another, shine.
The alarm just rang also.
Oh, Jesus, your alarm was loud there.
Okay, thank you, Owen.
Good, Owen.
Okay, and our next poet will be Marsha.
Thank you very much. The first poem I'm going to read is the Doppler Effect series. Something like Ouroboros or many-petaled rain cried, him. Then the woman who had something to dream, recumbent vision, saw him staring. I never use sex. It uses me. Sex is a silk curtain. Rain. We don't touch. It ranges. The eyes in the raindrop. The lid rolled up. Fetus. Dildoed. Deflated. Someone puts an ear to her pubis. She's carved out. She sees. The man is a crescent moon or side. The rainy collection of sun-blackened trees, the blackened glass, white sand, green grass, and ear to rain. He's popular. My body feels bad. He says red, red, red. I couldn't refuse. He talks in spurts. Come and take care of me in the rain. I fall into his mouth. My body and brains are given a rest in the hammock of my chest. My heartstrings are full, pulled, full pedal on. The cathedral chimes and gongs. A sweltering cloud of grapes drops from above. If I drown now, it will be good. A sweet shake of breath makes the wave move glad with sound unchanged. The stars who fly into the sea witness a constant conflict and a confidence. My last poem. Letter containing an imaginary scene. It disturbs me the way the landscape of my mind may be characterized by saying it regularly transforms itself from pale green, fragrant 14th century Chinese wash on silk, lacking perspective, to gouache, and back again without my knowing. Yet how delightful when it causes me to discern the truth embedded in a statement, such as the following, i.e., that the life of the Holy Spirit is easily incarnated into a single cell. I used to know the rules for writing poems, rhyme and write them in a foreign tongue. Speaking loosely, my poems were well understood, their intent was good. They looked like gibberish, but they were solid underneath, like the kitchen sink. They rose up with one bed of flowers, a set of tulips and roses and green, taller than I am. They were making themselves up, dressing, when one rose, looking down on the others with a smirk on her otherwise lovely face, caused a girl in a pinafore to cry out, "Oh dear!" Then a woman too old to be in the picture cut off the play. Last night, I got a message from outer space that said, "Write poems." I threw the envelope away in heat and pressed the rest to my breast, pinning it to my imaginary bra like an old boyfriend. When I opened it up again, it read Lost in Space. I saw stars, my eyes were X's. The things we hang from are not walls, but faded frescoes. A boat made of a shadow, old Roman crusades made of dark green Tiffany lampshades. Swinging from the chain, we break, go for broke. The joy comes out, belly up, through the zipper of our brain. Imaginary scene. The sea is made of cardboard, and the shark, a slit, is just a hole from which the shark embarks. A puppet on a stick, a fin, a moving finger grit, an ever-present tense. So clear, your leaves form in the bottom of the tea. Your face is ancient like a laughing mouse. Your skin mounts the cracks, eyes disappearing into black. You take me back into the opening. It's dark, and the creatures pour out warm. I'm one in human form. Thank you.
Thank you, Masha. Our next poem is Stephen. Stephen, I take it you don't want to be videotaped, correct?
Right.
Right, so.
I got it.
Got it? Great. Thanks a lot, Charles.
Good idea.